It is Wednesday, January 21st, and I am out front of the Indiana State House yet again to speak on anti-trans legislation. Today I'm going to be here to testify against Senate Bill 182. The fundamental text of this bill is that it will codify sex and gender in Indiana code as the same thing, which will ultimately have the result of completely wiping trans people out of existence as far as the state is concerned. This has a lot of other secondary effects, but the primary thing is that this fundamentally allows the state full and total legal authority to discriminate against trans people anywhere and everywhere without any repercussions. It's terrible, it's vile, and even though I'm running the risk of becoming a one-trick pony by being here for yet another anti-trans policy hearing, look, these are my people and I gotta be here for them. So let's go inside and see what the hell's going on today.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Senators. It's lovely to be back in this building to yet again discuss anti-trans legislation. I'm sorry, I know that the Republicans here don't like that term. I know you prefer your euphemistic language, such as protecting women or acknowledging biological realities. But this language just makes me laugh. As far as protecting women goes, I don't see anybody in this room lifting a finger to address Elon Musk and his Grok AI, which has become the state's and the country's largest library of revenge porn. And as far as anything scientific goes, this entire body has failed to keep up with the advancements and evolutions of science over the last century. Indeed, what you know about science is so ancient and barbaric, you might as well still be living in the era where we solved medical problems by sucking out blood through leeches. It is shameful. And you know, when I read the text of this bill, I find myself having only one question for its author. Senator Brown, have you been personally wronged by a trans woman? Because I will guarantee you not a single one of your constituents has ever... What?
We treat you with respect.
No, you do not, sir. This entire bill and proceeding is disrespectful fundamentally.
You're sitting in here. We may have disagreements, but I don't want to have anybody shouting at anybody else.
I guarantee you, Senator Brown, none of your constituents have ever told you, I sure am troubled by knowing that a trans person could change their birth certificate or that a trans woman could end up in a woman's prison. So the only thing I can think of is that you must have been personally wronged by one of my sisters. It's the only reason why I can see why you would be so desperate to have us locked up in men's prisons, even though we have all the data in the world that shows that trans women are infinitely more likely to be beaten and raped in men's prisons. And I would accuse you of not caring about that, but I do actually believe that's what you are counting on. And I believe that that's what everybody who has allowed the bill to get this far is counting on. We could be discussing the real problems of the state, like stagnating wages and the environmental damage, but no, here we are, yet again, focusing on how to screw over the state's smallest minority community. Do you have anything to offer the state other than that, or are you just trying to make yourselves look busy?
Okay. Thank you for your testimony.
You will get my respect when you earn it. The only thing you have earned is my contempt, Senator.
Thank you for your testimony.
All right, I'm back in Bloomington. So let's talk a little bit about the aftermath of my testimony and where we go from here. So the committee voted to pass the bill through 9-3, strictly on party lines. All the Republicans voted for the bill. All the Democrats voted against it. And in talking with some of the opponents of the bill afterwards, there was a couple of people who thought that my approach of being so aggressive and so outwardly angry was ultimately wrong and damaged our chances of killing the bill in committee. I fundamentally disagree with this. The thing that we have to remember about these legislative hearings is that this is entirely partisan. And Republicans act as a monolith on this 99% of the time. Their minds are already made up before the committee hearing even begins. And you can see that in their faces, and you can see that in their demeanor during the testimony period. I stood there and watched as the Republican senators in that room ignored the expert advocates who have spent decades working with the trans community and understand data and statistics better than anybody. I watched as those Republicans ignored the father crying about his broken family because his son can't return home because Indiana and America are no longer safe. I watched as they ignored the mother pleading for them to consider the very basic dignity of her trans child. I watched as they ignored the intersex woman who tried to explain to them that laws like this write people like her out of existence entirely. And one after another, you could see the looks on the faces of those senators. They genuinely did not care. They were not being swayed by this. And if they were not going to be swayed by the crying, white, heterosexual man, then they were not going to be swayed by anything. And we all have to face that reality. That's simply the truth of the situation. So I can understand why some might think me being aggressive and outwardly angry is the wrong way to go, because you might think, well, now they're just going to use that as, oh, look, the crazy transes are here screaming at us. I hate to break it to you. They already do that. They already think that we're all crazy. They already think that we're all just there screaming at them. And they're always using something out of context anyways. This is what conservatives do to us. They do this on a daily basis, and they have for many years now. They've always taken this approach with us. And we're not going to sway them in a committee hearing. That was never on the table. I did have a slim hope that we might be able to kill the bill, but I saw the writing on the wall as soon as I got into that room, and I saw the posture and the expressions on those senators' faces. And it became only increasingly clear as one after another, they just did not care to pay attention to the people pleading with them for dignity. This bill was going to pass this committee. And it's almost certainly going to pass into law. The point is not to kill the bill, ultimately. I wish we could. The point is to put as much public testimony on public record as we possibly can, because that still matters. We can still point to that public testimony to show how deeply unpopular this legislation truly is, not just with trans people, but with people from outside our community too. The point is also to continue to rally people and engage people and continue to keep people showing up to this, to keep them engaged, to keep them moving, and to keep them radicalized in the way that we need them to be radicalized, further on the left, further pushing back against these Republicans, not just on anti-trans legislation, but on all of the vile legislation that these people keep pushing year after year. That's the point. So you don't have to agree that my approach was good. But do I actually believe that my approach cost anything? No. I genuinely don't. I do genuinely believe that this was going to be how it was going to happen no matter what. At most, we might have been able to sway one of the other Republicans, but then it still would have been an 8-4 vote. No matter if you think that my approach in the hearing was the right one or the wrong one, here is what you cannot deny as true. Those senators sat there and ignored, one after another, all of the people pleading, crying, begging for dignity and respect. But they paid attention to me. I saw the looks on those senators' faces. The committee chair deliberately had to step in to chastise me. And Liz Brown, who authored the bill, oh, I saw the look on her face when I called her to her face and told her who she is. I got under their skin. I rattled them in a way nobody else there could. I looked the devil in the eye and I made the devil blink. You can't deny that. Will I do it again? It's likely. I can't promise one way or another. But I do also know this. They know who I am now. They're not going to forget me. And soon enough, they're going to have to be dealing with me in those halls every day. And I'll have the same approach then.